Hey guys, welcome back. It is Vortie here, and we're going to be doing a full deep dive unit look at Majigita Thingamajag. Essentially, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be jumping in and looking at all the units for the Kingsglaive banner. So this isn't one of those just an overgeneral thing that you would catch in the previous video that came out where I just kind of talked about the event and the units. It was very quick. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video. In the comment section below, you will notice that there is timestamps for the different units. So the way it's going to be is I'm going to start off obviously with the 5-star base unit, then going down towards the 3-star unit, which is Libertus. We're just going to look at all the spells, all the moves, and really get a feel for what this unit could possibly do. So again, I'm giving you a quick warning. The video is going to be a little bit longer than normal, but there's going to be timestamps between each of the characters, and you can kind of get a feel for them. I really want to do videos like this because I feel that in a small, like 10-minute video, you can really only sum up what the unit can do. But if you really want to have a discussion about what the unit's potential is, you need a little bit more time, and it lets you kind of think a little bit more freely. So as you guys probably know, I'm very opposed to just like writing down like a script and then kind of reading it out, unless it's something that requires it. So most of my videos are just like free-flowing, so it's exactly how I feel at the time of making the video. Those are my actual thoughts. It wasn't premeditated, it wasn't written, it wasn't anything. It is how I feel about those units, it is how I feel about those moves exactly at that time. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to click right here on the units, and we're going to look at them this way. Oops, what? That's not who we want. Get out of here. Planned events. There it is. This is the banner we're looking at. We're looking at the Kingsglaive banner. We're going to be looking at Nyx, Crowe, Glauca, and Libertus. Alright? So, I have my trusty internet ready to go. We're going to jump right into Nyx first, okay? So, I'm going to be using Exvius Wiki, so shout out to those guys for keeping everything always so tight and organized and having the information up to date. And along the lines with these kinds of videos, I will always wait till the patch actually goes live to make sure that all of the data that is going to be represented in the global game is present, okay? So there's less likely that if I make a video talking about something that it's going to change by the time the video goes live the next day because the patch just came out or whatever, alright? So Nyx, I really like Nyx. He's my boy. People always tell me he looks kind of like me. I got like the hair and stuff like that. I think he's got blue eyes. I got like greenish blue eyes, so I'm not really sure. But you guys will soon see that because I'm literally like a couple of days away from getting all my setup here. I got the camera, I got everything going. So it's gonna be cool. I'm gonna be doing like a little, I guess you can say like a face reveal, so you guys have to put up with me anyways. Gonna have to look at my ugly mug. But anyways, that's a different story. Now we're talking about Nyx. Nyx is awesome. As far as like how he looks and like his character, he's really cool. Now, in the game, in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, he kind of gets a shaft on some of the components, and it's a little bit unfortunate, but hey, they did as best as they could to kind of make him a strong unit. Could they have done better? Absolutely. And the reason what I'm saying is the selection of weapons. But before we get to that, let's look at his Trust Mastery. His Trust Mastery is called Guard of the Future. It increases your attack, defense, magic, and spirit by 20%. And it gives you auto refresh and auto regen. It's actually a pretty nice one. I wouldn't really farm this out, and I wouldn't recommend you farming it out unless you really need it. Then go for it. But like I said, farm it out. Don't put your Trust Moogles into this Trust Mastery. It's not required. The general rule of thumb is you want to give Trust Moogles to 5-star base units that have very strong weapons, things that can really change your game. Like for example, like Olive. Olive has got Sparky, and Olive is pretty good as a unit herself, and then if you put some other weapons on, she's pretty cool. But when you put Sparky on Olive, she becomes like this incredible beast. Same thing with like Aileen. Aileen is with her little weapon that does earth damage. Same thing. Like, you can do good damage with Aileen's other weapons, but having her weapon that also has earth damage on it is really huge. So getting units like that kind of grants Trust Moogle finish. Even like somebody like just recently came out, like Onion Knight. Onion Knight's little sword, hell yeah, that's where you want to put it into, and that's kind of how I did it. I have like tons of Trust Moogles that are just sitting there, and some people are thinking like, oh, it's a waste. Well, not really. You gotta make sure you understand where you want to put it, alright? So I would farm this out if you really wanted it, but otherwise, that's kind of the best way to go about it. Looking at his base stats is alright. Maximum stats and gross, sure, no problem, easy peasy. Looking at the resistances, he gets none, and here is his weakness, right here. It's right here. This is the thing that cripples him. You can use daggers, swords, and throwing weapons, right? The armor selections is fine. That's okay. You can work with that. You get a good little stretch of items to pick up here. But the fact is, he's supposed to be a physical damage dealer. A physical damage dealer can only use 3 weapons. It makes it very difficult. As well as the fact that there is no fire elemental weapons that he can use and take advantage of to make sure that he can take advantage of what his moves actually do, like his probably biggest hitter or chaining ability, Kingsglaive. So we do have something like Flame Tongue, it's like a sword, and then if you were here for the event, you probably got yourself a Vernard. You could actually get 2 Vernards if you were there for both events. But really, those guys have really low damage, and to try and get a top tier 5-star base unit to 6-star and having him compete on the ladder boards for having 1,000 damage or more is going to be very crushing for him. It's going to be very hard to gear him. Yes, you could probably get him pretty close to that by using Trust Masteries and putting equipped, great sword or something to him and then enhancing that. But in his kit, he gets increased dagger mastery, and he doesn't even have a good dagger to use. So it's kind of crappy with that, and that's where it really falls. Looking at his abilities, he's got an array of interesting abilities. I'm just going to look at the ones that are probably the most important. Warp Plunder is really nice. You steal MP and hit points, and it's a huge amount of hit points. You're looking at the break here. It's 2.1 multiplier physical damage, and then you get 10% hit points of that 2.1 multiplier, right? The MP is the same as it is with most damage dealing moves that get MP back. It is a 0.3 multiplier of the physical damage he deals. You get 20% MP of that multiplier of 0.3. Sounds complicated, but really you only get 20% of the MP you would deal from that 0.3 multiplier. Okay, Warp Charge is pretty interesting. It's just a break. He does damage and does a break, similar to what Noctis would do. Noctis is called Warp Strike, and this one's called Warp Charge. So Warp Charge does magic and spirit break and does some damage, whereas Warp Strike does attack and defense break, kind of like Noctis. His big hitting move is called Kingsglaive. This move is the one that you will be chaining with. It's got nice sets of frames. They lag a little bit in the beginning, but with a little bit of finessing, a little bit of working, you could probably get it to work pretty nice. Again, the problem here is, as you can see, it's physical damage times 2, so 2 times multiplier, ignores 50% defense, which is solid, but decreases fire resistance by 50%, which means you kind of want to have a fire weapon to take advantage of this so you can do as much damage as possible. Now hang on, it's not too bad as you look at the second move. It's called Hero's Pride. Hero's Pride is a 4 times multiplier, 1 hit, and it adds fire element damage to your weapon. So okay, it's not too bad. You can switch it into that, but when you think chaining, you want to start chaining like, the second you hit the ground, you want to start chaining. You don't have to prepare for it. So using Hero's Pride would be your preparation move, and then turn 2 you'll be using Kingsglaive to try and get that fire elemental damage chaining. So the more guys you have, you're set back 1 turn, which kind of blows, but that's the little forgiving factor where he can still potentially do something, but he's still limited with a selection of weapons to try and get him to peak out on that. How much damage can he really do? Like, he won't be able to keep up with like Onion Knights who are breaking 1100, almost 1200 damage right now, which is crazy, right? He also gets Life Giver, where he kills himself and he revives another person. This is the same thing that Bart's has, same idea. And then he's got Desperate Blow. Desperate Blow is his finishing move. So personally, I would categorize my boy Nyx in 3 different categories. He's a physical damage dealer, obviously, but he's a chaining finisher, so he can chain and finish. Because it's 7.5 multiplier. He damages himself by 20% and he'll do a 7.5 multiplier damage to that. Put that at the end of a chain and it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge, man. Huge. Alright? So that's pretty cool. Overall, those are his active abilities. They're not that bad. They're pretty solid. Then you're looking at his traits. He gets Dagger Master, which is 50% increased damage when he equips Dagger. He gets the Dual Wield in his kit, which is superb. That's actually something you want to have on most 5-star damage dealers. He gets that, but unfortunately, it's still overshadowed by the fact that he can only wear 3 style of weapons, and you're going to have to waste another slot, like equipped Greatsword or something, to put Vargas? This great sword in there to get the fire elemental damage, or put on like equipped fists or something so you can get that robot fist on there. Like it's I don't know. I feel bad that they did this to him. So then he has a phase, which is a chance to evade by 30%. He gets hit points, attack, and magic 20% increase as he levels up. He gets a loyalty oath, which allows him to resist poison, disease, and sleep, which is pretty cool. And then he gets the 5-star base treatment of the auto refresh. He also does get a little bit of elemental damage. He does lightning and fire, and then he learns how to, buff your party with protect and shell by 40%, which is nice. So you get 40% defense, 40% spirit. So he's kind of got some of those little side touches because he can cast magic. Overall, a very solid unit. I really, really like him. If I do get him, I'll be really happy, but I'm not going to go balls deep on this guy just because there's a lot of stronger banners coming around, and he is very hard to kind of set up in gear to prepare him to kind of be able to do something for your team. If I do get him just by pulling, then I will try and make it work. I will use him a lot because he's one of my favorite characters. But honestly, I'm going to kind of stick around and wait till some of the bigger, stronger banners come out. And then when I do pull, if I do get trolled, which we eventually all will, and then Nyx is my boy that pops up, I will be very happy. I will be very, very, very happy. So overall, a solid unit. Unless you're a whale, really, I wouldn't recommend pulling on him because of his difficulty of gearing. All right, next, we're looking at Crowe. My girl, Crowe. Crowe is actually really cool. She can do a bunch of different things, okay? Her Trust Mastery is called Thirst for Survival. She gives you 30% hit points and 30% spirit buff. Really, really nice. One of the top tier Trust Masteries. Personally, it's one of the best. And the best example I can give you guys is look at all of the different kinds of difficult trials we're getting. Not something that it takes you 3, 4, 5 tries and bam, you're good. It takes like 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to beat. I'm talking about trials like the crazy machine robot, where it's majority of the people that are defeating this guy with great difficulty. They're taking 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours to beat him, right? And the carrying factor for most of those people is the fact that they can survive. This is one of those kinds of survival trust masteries you really, really want to have. The less you have to worry about making sure that your units stay alive or getting one-shotted, the more you can focus on damage and focus on mechanics to try and progress faster through the content, right? There's always going to be harder content that's going to be coming along, and there's always going to be like a wall that everyone hits, but these kinds of trust masteries help you at least get that survival part covered. Now, the bad news about this trust mastery, I did see some information kind of looking around the internet. Obviously, not everything can be true on the internet, but it looks like as of the update right now, they added a little number 1 above that icon, which actually might mean that you can only have one of these. That's gonna gimp this thing a little bit. It means you can only have one of these per a unit, so you can't put it all on, let's say, like a Warrior of Light who you're going to be using to tank and you just needed hit points and spirit. You can't really put 3 of them on him anymore, which is kind of unfortunate. In the JP version, you can't stack it, so I'm really curious to see if this is actually a bug or this is intended. So looking at her stats, she's alright for stats. Her growth stats normal for a 4-star base. She's got a limiting amount of weapons as well, but for her it's not that big of a deal considering that she's more of a support mage. So having rods and staffs is really what she needs, and she's got the cloth and the hat. She's really, really good. Plus she's got access to shields, so she really fits her role perfectly. So even though she only has 3 weapons, they were nicely picked. If Nyx had, let's say, a great sword in there that he could use, it would have probably made him a little bit more viable, so you can actually use some other weapons to kind of peek out his damage. But see, she's got exactly what she needs. Looking at her abilities here, she gets all the elements, so magic, not elements, but all the stats, magic, attack, spirit, and defense. She can single target cast on a unit for 3 turns and buff them by 100%. Really, really nice. She can also cast a heal Asuna on a single target, which is called emergency relief. She heals 4.5 multiplier of 800 to 1 ally and cures all status ailments, which is really, really nice to have on a support unit that kind of just sits back, is buffing, casts some magic and stuff like that. She can kind of help you do that, so you don't have to utilize your healer for just maybe removing stats off of one unit. She can do that. So she also has Lone Woman, which allows her to fill the limit burst gauge for everyone by increased rate by 50% for 3 turns. And then she also gets what is my favorite move up from her is For Hearth and Home. This move right here, it is just a perfect thing to have on a support unit that also can heal and buff units. She can cast AoE shield on everyone where they're reduced damage by 30%, which is really, really nice, okay? One of her best moves for sure, actually the best move she's got. She also has dual black magic in her kit, and we'll talk about that in a second. Her traits, she gets a boost in magic, spirit, and MP by 20%. Also, she's got a move called Sister Spirit, When her hit points falls below 30%, she gets an increase to magic by 80%. It's not super useful, but if you know you're going to be nuking and she's already below 30%, you might as well do your dual black magic cast before you heal her up. She can also cover the elements of fire, thunder, air, and ice, and she learns a nice, which is her second move, that's my favorite, is Curaga. She can actually heal AoE heal of a 3.4 multiplier based off of her spirit to all allies. So the more spirits she has, the more she heals. Really, really nice. Overall, a very solid unit. Is she going to be the best support unit? Absolutely not. There's way better units out there than her, but if you're a new player or you're just looking for someone to fit that niche now and then, this is the unit you want to level up to 6-star as soon as possible, so you can definitely utilize her skills, especially that shield. She's definitely better than the what do you call it, the Sakura we get right now that has the shield that's free. Other units that have this is obviously units like Dark Veritas, and if you have the pod, the 153 pod, you also have a shield. But I'm assuming that you guys weren't lucky and you don't have those units. You do have Sakura, as long as you play through the story, she has a shield by 20%. So you get 10% more, and it's a 4-star base unit. So if you do get her, it's actually a nice thing to kind of have out there and have her coverage, because you got better stats than Sakura for sure. Alright guys, that's going to do it for Crowe. The next unit here is going to be Glauca. Glauca is a badass. I just want to get him and level him up to 6-star just because I love that character so much from Kingsglaive. If you haven't seen Kingsglaive, you should definitely go take a look at it, because it's actually a really good movie. I enjoyed it. I really liked it. It's supposed to be like a prequel before Final Fantasy 15 takes off, where Noctis kind of becomes like king or prince or whatever you want to call him. But anyways, very, very cool unit. His Trust Mastery is called Glauca's Greatsword. It deals 125, I think it is. 125, let's take a look. It's not even in yet. We'll just switch over to our trusty thing here. Glauca. Yeah, 125 damage, Dark Element, and it also gives you regen. Alright, very good Greatsword. It's the only other Greatsword we get that has Dark Elemental on it other than Dark Knight Cecil, so that's pretty solid. Stats and everything, we'll just skip that, not very important. He's also very limited on his weapons, but he does get Greatsword Mastery, and there is a huge selection of Greatswords, so he can wear Greatswords and swords, so that's perfect really. It's really the weapons you put him on him anyways. He can also wear Shield if you want him to tank. He's got heavy armor and accessories. Looking at his magic here, he's got Blade Blitz for AoE to kind of deal from that. He can also use Thrust of Respect, which is similar to Warp Plunder from Nyx. He does damage to an enemy, and he drains only MP, not hit points though, which is not that bad. He also has Iron Will, where he will increase his defense and spirit by 45%. Flash of Despair, physical damage, 1.5 multiplier, ignoring defense by 50%, and having a chance to inflict stop on a unit by 50%, which is huge. If you want to if you bring him in PvP, you can just almost like have a 50-50 chance to stop a dude, which is pretty cool. Then he's got Wall Smash. This move looks really cool. Physical 1.5 to one enemy, and removes all status effects from that enemy, and also increases his attack by 45%. It's a Dispel. He dispels the unit, removes everything off of him, and then increases his attack. Super badass. Daybreak Darkness is a chaining move. You can change with a few different characters. He shares frame rates with units like Titus. What was the other person? So there was one other unit, it just doesn't come to mind right now, but it's similar to Titus's. The Titus's is a little bit faster and there's more attacks, so like you'll get broken frames and broken chains, but they can kind of nip in there. You really can't do a perfect chain off of them. I think Nyx can chain really well with Beatrice later on and Cloud, but Glauca here I don't remember 100% if he can chain with any other dude perfectly other than himself. Yeah, very interesting. But yeah, it's chaining move. Physical damage 2 times multiplier, ignores defense by 25%, and it decreases light and dark resistance by 50%. So he does a double element imperil, which is really interesting. You can have a mixed party when you bring them together if you were trying to kind of take advantage of both elements. But I don't see that happening. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are thinking the same. It's like, why would you want to bring 2 different elements and break your party apart? Might as well just bring one and just kind of blow it up. So like if you were bringing like 3 Orlandus, you're just gonna reduce the light. Why would you reduce light dark as well? Because there's no point. Great Chop as well, another strong hitting move. Looking at his traits, he's got Machine Killer 50%, Man-Eater 50%, which is really nice, and then he's got Hit Points 40% boost, Unwavering Body, increases his resistance to all status ailments by 50%. I'm assuming this is probably because of his Magic Hit armor, so he gets that, and then he gets that 50% increased attack if he's wearing a Greatsword, which is solid. And then one of my favorite moves from him, which I loved abusing during the time when I used them in the JP version, is on Hesitating Counter. He's got a 50% chance of countering using Unhesitating Counter, which is the move right below here. It does physical 1.5 multiplier damage to one enemy. It'll also do a defense break by 45% for 3 turns. Super, super cool. I used to put Golem on him. You provoke, units attack you. If there's like 4 units, they all attack you. Then he goes back and he breaks like 2 or 3 of them, which is really cool. I liked abusing that a little bit. Overall, it's interesting. His Limit Burst is actually really cool. He will do physical damage to the unit and then he'll heal himself to full. So if he's taking a lot of damage, uses Limit Burst, he heals himself back to full and does a huge multiplier of 6. And if you fully awaken it to 8.4, I wouldn't level this Limit Burst. It's not very useful because you're not going to be using this unit. It's very hard to gear him as far as getting him into like solid damage. So I would not bother on. Overall, if you do get Glauca, I would level him up to 6-star for sure. Just to have him as a unit, that's my personal opinion. What kind of usefulness are you going to get out of him right now? Absolutely none that I can think of. If you have other chainers that can chain with Daybreak, then you can begin chains like that. Especially if you have 2 Glaucas. You have 2 Glaucas, then you have another unit that's stronger that can chain with them. That would be pretty cool. I think Veritas of the Dark has a similar move where I think his frames are like 9 though. Very close. But yeah, you can kind of use him to chain with other units and then go with there. Overall, meh, so-so. Alright, and then we look at the last unit here. He's kind of a bust. It's a Libertus. Really, like, the only thing you can get out of him is his Trust Mastery. It's okay. It's nothing great. Like, I mean, 10 attack, like it's in some other stuff. We can take a look at it right here, actually. You get 10 attack, defense 30, magic 20, hit points 10%. It's pretty solid for, like, maybe like a, what was I gonna say? You are in my head, get out! For like a hybrid style unit, even if you were to put it on someone like Nyx, it would be pretty okay. There's way better things you can put on it, but if you already have Libertus, might as well just, you know, feed him into himself till you got the Trust Mastery. Then now you have this decent armor that you can utilize. There's a lot of different things you can kind of replace this with, but it's actually pretty solid for magic, defense, and attack on a hybrid unit. It's actually probably one of your few better options, unless you want to just put magic in it, depending what you're trying to achieve. All right, where are we? Looking back at Libertus here, as far as everything else, weak stats, weak everything, selection of weapons is like Nyx, but he doesn't have the boost in damage like Nyx, and he's not a 5-star base. Overall, his moves are very poor. Like, he heals people or recovers MP and then he decreases his spirit, or he heals a person and decreases his own defense. He's supposed to be sort of like a mini tank where he can kind of sit in front of you, but when he does anything else other than tank, he will weaken himself, making him even more crappy than he is. Alright? I like his move, damn it, the chance to counter physical attacks by 30%. Other than that, really the best part other than his Trust Mastery is going to be his Limit Burst. His Limit Burst animation is spot on. I'm not going to I'm not going to waste it for you or ruin it for you when you do get Libertus, which you will if you're pulling. Make sure you get his Limit Burst at least once so you can see it. It's actually really cool. It's very unique. Okay, it's very unique. Overall, that's Libertus. Nothing too special. As far as the banner goes, it's not one of the best banners out there. I mean, like Glauca's Trust Mastery is really nice, the Great Sword. Crowe's Trust Mastery is really, really nice, especially if they've removed this limitation I'm seeing where he gets, like, you can only have one, which is kind of lame. Nyx is a pretty solid unit on it, but right now, very hard to gear. In the future, when he gets his enhancements, he can chain even a little bit better. He can do more damage. His his Dagger Mastery gets even stronger. I think it becomes like 70% boost or something. Plus, he gets some other additions to that. Overall, he becomes a lot better later on in the future. So if you do get him, don't feel too bad. So yeah, that's kind of the review for this. A little bit more in-depth jump. Longer video. That's kind of how it is going to be. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Are you guys going to be pulling for this banner? Which unit do you guys like? Did I miss something about the unit that you actually think might be useful or a way to use them? So just let me know, because I'm also still learning with the JP version. I kind of, since I can translate so slowly, by the time I translate something, it becomes irrelevant. So I don't really utilize these characters to their best advantage, especially when I've used them personally. So if you see a better or grander picture of how you can use them or take advantage of one of these characters, let me know. I'm all ears, and we can share it with the community together, see if we can help people out if they do get it, especially those new players who might come out and are re-rolling and they get nicks. So at least we can give them that advice. Okay, thank you guys so much for sticking around. This is Vortie, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hit that like and subscribe button. Stick around for future content. I will see you guys in the next video. I'm out of here. Peace.
Decided.